ADHD, or rather attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects one's perception and focus, controlling their impulses and their energy levels.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So now we have a child now with the attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. How do you now distinguish a child who strictly has autism and one now with just ADHD? What is the difference?
There is stigmatization, one, in school.
And you need to have a proper diagnosis.
Yeah.
Because personally, I've said, I procrastinate. So I might say, I can't really go ahead and rush to say that I have ADHD.
Kindly seek the services of a professional. Get the advice. Do whatever is needed for you. Yeah.
Hey beautiful people, and welcome to yet another amazing episode of Autism Lifestyle. For those who are new here, I'm Brenda Kawira. I'm a special needs educator, and today we are going to be getting more insights on attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. And I'm joined by a very lovely lady, and I'll let her introduce herself. But before that, if you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that anytime we do a video, you are able to be the first one to get the notification. Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you,
Sharon. So I'll allow you to tell us your name and what you do. Just a brief introduction. Yes.
Hello people, my name is Sharon Kinya. I'm an assessor in the area of special needs.
Okay, karibu.
Asante.
So we had a video about ADHD, or attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, and I saw that it's better for us to get more insights about it so that we can understand it more, because I think it's something that many people are confusing it out there, especially when it comes to ADHD and autism. Yeah, so maybe we can first begin by you telling us what ADHD is. Yes.
ADHD, or rather attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects one's perception and focus, controlling their impulses and their energy levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are there, in autism, we have levels. So is it the same for also ADHD?
For each condition, we have different degrees. It could be mild, moderate, or severe. Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the types when it comes to now ADHD?
So for ADHD, we have the inattentive type. We have the impulsive hyperactive type. And we also have the combined type, which has the inattentiveness and the hyperactivity bit of it.
Okay. Yeah. So they are just the three of them?
Yes.
So maybe you can tell us more about these types of the ADHD.
So for the inattentive type, we'll find the person struggles more with focusing on a task for long periods or having sustained attention on things that need more of their attention. So for the impulsive type, you'll find that they are mostly doing actions without thinking of the consequences.
Okay.
Yeah. Then for the hyperactive type, they are not able to settle for a specific period of time, for a long period of time. There's restlessness. Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a child now with the attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. How do you now distinguish a child who strictly has autism and one now with just ADHD? What is the difference?
For a child with autism, they are struggling with the social skills, communication, imagination. For a child with ADHD, they have issues with their concentration, impulsivity, hyperactivity, of which you could also find a child with autism also has some of the challenges like hyperactivity. They have short concentration span as well, of which for ADHD, they should have experienced the symptoms for at least 6 months continuously. Yeah.
So it's a possibility that you can have a combination of both.
Yeah. ADHD can occur with autism. It can occur with learning disabilities. intellectual disabilities, oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder.
Yeah, so you are naming a lot of ambiguous names. So maybe we can start by you telling us what impulsivity is.
Impulsivity, this is when one does actions without thinking of the consequences, or maybe you're quick to answer without thinking, is this the correct answer or not? For example, in a classroom environment, we can have an example whereby I'm bored of the lesson.
Yeah.
So the teacher goes ahead and asks me, I'm bored of the lesson. Then maybe I decide just to sleep. So when the teacher asks me, why am I sleeping in their class? Maybe let's say the teacher is not aware of my situation. I go ahead and tell them, why don't you make your lesson interesting? You see, the teacher could perceive that as rudeness. But it's all because, but later on this is not what I should have said. I would have maybe given a more polite answer, or maybe explained my situation to them. So it's more of, I'm rushing to do things without thinking, how will this affect the other person? But later on, you'll find that the child is remorseful of their actions.
So we can say it's like they're doing it unawarely at the moment.
Yeah.
But they later come to think about their actions.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have also mentioned that ADHD can be combined with other disabilities. You've mentioned autism.
Yeah.
There's one intellectual disabilities, learning difficulties. Okay, and there's one that you mentioned as well, the
oppositional defiant disorder. This is whereby you find a person is really struggling with, in layman's language, following the rules and regulations as per what other people perceive. So many could term it as being indisciplined.
Yeah, I believe that's what we do.
Yeah.
And we say the parent is not, has bad parenting, or the child is a difficult child, they are rude.
Yeah.
So it's also a disorder.
Yeah, it's also a disorder, of which you'll find most of people with ADHD, it will come a bit. Yeah. Of which if not well attended to in a little conduct disorder, it could turn to conduct disorder, which is worse than the oppositional defiant disorder. So for oppositional defiant disorder, you'll find that this child has maybe posed persistent symptoms of maybe defiance, disobedience, directly to the environment, directly linked to them. For conduct disorder, it could be more of physical aggression. They are breaking the rules, the people's rights. Yeah.
Okay, so it spreads now to the larger society.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. I actually never knew that. Yeah, so now that we are talking about, we are calling this child that we are saying they are a difficult child. We are saying the parent is not able to handle their child. You know, the society puts a lot of the blame on the parents.
Yeah.
And when the child now becomes an adult, they face a lot of opposition.
Yeah.
So what are some of now these needs that come with now ADHD?
With ADHD, there comes needs like just you've mentioned. This child is not well disciplined, leading it to the parents. Also, another thing is that, especially children coming from single parent families, and you happen to have ADHD, you're blamed, your mother has not punished you, they have not disciplined you enough. There's also a myth that comes that ADHD is only in children, but you also find ADHD in adults, some who are later diagnosed in future, those who are not lucky enough to be diagnosed while they were underage, especially, for example, if you are not exhibiting the hyperactive symptoms. Yeah, of which it's another myth. ADHD is only the hyperactivity. So if you are hyperactive, that means if you are not hyperactive, people tend to say you don't have ADHD.
but you might be having
You might be having if you have the other, if you are experiencing the other characteristics. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, because I also thought that it's only that when you are always up and down, you can't settle.
Yeah.
That's when now we can say you have ADHD.
Maybe for the adults who have ADHD. You see, these conditions were still there in the earlier ages,
but people didn't know.
Yeah, but there's that person who's also struggling with their concentration and everything. And how many adults would you say they are hyperactive? You could be seated in an office. Yes, you have ADHD. Yes, maybe you are hyperactive at some point in your life. But once you are an adult, at least you've managed the condition. You know how to cope with the situations.
Yeah.
And also, as you grow older, also the hyperactivity tends to outgrow. It could outgrow.
Okay.
Yeah, based on how you well managed the condition
from a younger age.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I think even out there, even on the social media, we see people doing a lot of funny things.
Yeah.
So I think it's not only because of we can't say that they're courageous or
Yeah.
There might be something behind that.
Yeah.
No, it's starting to come into my mind now. Yeah, so now we are seeing these people. So and of course we cannot go ahead and start saying that this child or this adult has ADHD. So how can we go about the process of now diagnosing?
Of the diagnosis. No, for the diagnosis, you need a clinical specialist to do this process. The clinical specialists involved are psychiatrists and maybe psychologists at some point. Yeah. So they have to do the assessment, collect the information. Also, they have to outrule other conditions. For example, a child with learning disabilities could also be having attention problems.
Yeah.
So you see, the diagnosis, they have to first outrule this child does not have maybe learning disabilities. A child with autism could be hyperactive.
Yeah.
A child with intellectual disability could be hyperactive. So they first have to rule out the other conditions. And the symptoms should have at least persisted for at least 6 months. And also they should have met with the DSM-5 criteria, the diagnostic manual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's called a DSM-5.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. We're actually learning a lot of new words here, and so now we have the diagnosis of this child, and I believe even before they are diagnosed, they have undergone through a lot.
Yeah.
So from your side of view, what are some of these challenges that you believe these children or the adults face?
Mostly to the children. There is stigmatization. One, in school. At home, maybe the parents understand the child. Maybe let's say the nannies don't understand the child. Other parents to other children as well. So some of the challenges they undergo in school, we have maybe they are not well understood by the teachers, by the other students. So you get to find that the more they are not understood, the more that there's pressure on them, now making it worse for them.
Yeah.
They are in an environment whereby they are not able to cope with the situation.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So it's like they feel they are neglected in a way, which is sad. Because I think we all want to be heard.
Yeah.
So I can imagine. So what are some of the other challenges maybe?
Other challenges linked with ADHD, there is poor time management. The fact that already the concentration span is short, it means you'll take longer to complete your tasks.
Yeah.
You might zone out while on a task. So time could come to an end without you having completed your task. There's things like hyperfocus. By hyperfocus, we mean you're really engaged in things or tasks that you're really interested in. Procrastination. You've been told, do this task, but you're not in a position to. So you'll be like, I'll do it later, and later will never come. Yeah. There are things like
I think I'm a victim.
if you don't do it now, you're done.
Yeah.
Things like you're easily distracted while on a task, forgetfulness. If you maybe didn't complete your task by this time, it will just disappear.
Okay.
You're not in a position to remember, this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have these behaviors that are there when you have the ADHD. So is the ADHD majorly linked to behavioral problems, or is there more to that?
Great question. So for ADHD, it's not a behavioral, or other people would say an attitude. So it's not a behavioral or attitude problem. As we said that when we began, it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that if maybe I'm having attention problems, I have ADHD.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have zoned out because maybe I'm having some stress. I'm anxious about a certain thing. You see, so just because I've lost the concentration for a short period of time, that doesn't link me to having ADHD. Yeah. So, and as we said, the symptoms should at least have occurred for at least 6 months and medically diagnosed by clinical professionals.
Yeah. I think that is something that should be out there. You need to have a proper diagnosis.
Yeah.
Because, like, personally, like I've said, I procrastinate. So I might say, yeah, I can't really go ahead and rush to say that I have ADHD. Yeah. So I think we should put it out there and a better way support these children using the methods that you have said, without really always resulting to punishment. We are always constantly caning our children and the pupils. Yeah. So what other methods can we use apart from the ones you have said?
You'll find that anxiety could be there. So you could get this person a fidget ball. Maybe the time when they're fidgety, they feel anxious, just a squashy ball. Yeah.
Just to make them calm.
Yeah, and also ensure that this, whatever you're getting them, will not cause a distraction to the rest of the people who are in the same environment as them. So it should be something just as quiet as possible. You can also encourage journaling. You could get them a journal book. Encourage them to write down once they feel like something going on. Help them journal down. Yeah, you could come up with routines that they are able to stick up to. This will also help them in more of being organized. Most people with ADHD have organization issues. So also the journal will assist them with, at this time, this is what I'm supposed to do. After that, this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, so let them stick to a routine that is as simple as possible. Then encourage them that if at all you have a task that maybe this is a task that needs very short time, maybe let's say 5 minutes of my time, encourage them to complete it there and then to avoid procrastination. And also we can work with decluttering the environment. You see, for ADHD, especially those with the inattentive type, anything could be a distractor to them. So if I'm in a working environment, I should ensure that whatever is there is something that will be of a less distractor to me. Yeah, so encourage decluttering, but all you don't need this material for this specific task. Let it not be there.
Okay. That's interesting, actually. I think even us, everyone needs that. Because you see, when you come into a work environment and it's full of a lot of things, you won't concentrate. So I can imagine to this individual with ADHD. So And we talk about therapies for learners with autism. We talk about therapies for people with different disabilities, physical, visual. So is there therapies that can help these individuals with ADHD?
Yeah. For people with ADHD, we could recommend cognitive behavioral therapy for those who have behavior issues, and also ABA. We could recommend hydrotherapy, occupational therapy as well. Yeah. And also let them be involved more in physical activities, because you see they have a lot of energy in them.
Yeah.
And they need to release it. So maybe if you identify that your child is hyperactive, if you identify that your child is hyperactive and you put them in an enclosed area, you'll find out that you're stressing yourself more, because you'll be like, stop. So just release them, let them go, be involved in a physical activity. It could be running, playing with other kids, cycling, swimming. It assists in releasing the energy. Yeah.
Okay. So you've mentioned hydrotherapy. Before we close, we come to the end of the session. What is hydrotherapy?
Hydrotherapy, this is therapy that is done in water. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, with the guidance of maybe an occupational therapist, with the guidance of maybe life support.
The lifeguard.
Yeah, the lifeguard.
Okay.
Yeah, so it helps them in calming down. Yeah.
Okay. I'm really learning a lot. I don't wish to end our session, but I think there's more to ADHD and everything. So as we come to the end of the session, can you just talk to the parents out there and just give them a word? Yeah.
So for parents or any other person who's watching us, when you suspect that maybe a child, a relative, or a friend has any condition, kindly seek the services of a professional, get the advice, do whatever is needed for you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Asante.
So to our viewers out there, every time we get an interview or an insight from an professional, you always hear them insisting that you should seek professional advice. So I think that is a very important note to take home. And as we come to an end of our session today, don't forget to hit the subscription button and the notification bell. So until next time, bye bye.